Hello, we are the team below the surface. So far, it is just us four that have been working on this story for about 2 to 3 months now. Our North Star behind creating this story would be behind leaving everything from the past to find a new way forward for the future. As well, our log line is about a tale of a young girl whose curiosity saves a dying city. We want this story to be similar to like Avatar: The Last Airbender in terms of its like fun and happy story, uh, but mixing it with its more complex characters and the dark undertones. And then we want the like look of it to be more like the Pixar and Disney movie Luca, with like how stylized and painted or painterly the environments and just characters look throughout it. So our plot is once upon a time there was a sinking town. Every day the people thought it would be their last until one day they needed a last piece for a rocket. Because of this, Mira realizes that she might know where it is and goes on a deep dive to find it. Ever since then, the people of Earth remembered her. So this is like our stylized guide and vibe that we've been creating for our story. So like for the city structures, we want it to be like very fisherman themed towns and like Italian styled like stacking of houses as well, just like fantasy styled of stacking of houses. Um, as well, like looking at a lot of art about like places that are already built above water and incorporated like working with the water. And then these are some like props that we've made and even 3D modeled out. Our protagonist is Mira. She's a young girl that we have a good amount of art for. Her needs are safety in a world that's going under, and her wants are to be closer to others in her community. And then this is her best friend, the Octo, in the bottom left. The environment for the city, as I was talking about, is these stacked houses, fisherman town, run down, very cobbled together looking place. Um, we will be diving under the water, as we saw, and with that, we've been like trying to understand what that environment will look like. So we've been doing a lot of art for trying to see like how beautiful it would look while also being, ruins. Um, and then as well, this is like the stylization for our like island that we'll be living on with Mira. And with that, it's like a horseshoe style island with a little gulf of like calmness in there. The rules are stacked houses because of the limited land and rising water, almost always stormy and weather beaten area, and there's a singular high tide and low tide every day. And then these are like some fish ideas of like mutated, cute, but like weird little guys. So our story is panning shot in the beginning, showing the city as well of the like slight ruins in the water, and then showing them working on the rocket ship. We get closer to them working on the rocket ship, seeing that it is a team effort from everybody in the town, basically. From there, we get closer to seeing the lead scientist handing out goggles for the day and basically showing divers what they need to be grabbing, while he is measuring the water line and seeing how far it's rising up, with our final diver being Mira. Once Mira dives in, she goes underwater. We see some of the signs of the past from like, vote for me, I'll stop the tides, to, danger, water's rising here. As she's swimming, we see that she's swimming to a hideout where she meets up with her friend Octo. She opens up the entrance to the hideout for them, and they both enter, where they go to this top area and go through different treasures and loot that they have gathered throughout their adventures. Octo tries showing her different parts, and she tosses a few of them to the side, thinking that, oh, I don't really need these. We then come back to her with the magnifying glass that she got from Octo, to her using that in her room to study different things that she's been picking up from under the ocean. And we get to see more of her room and more of the, pseudo scientist or, scientist that she is. As well, we get to see the news channels on. And as the news channel's on, the head scientist comes on from earlier in the day and says, "Hey guys, we found the last part that we need." And with that, she goes, "Oh, that's literally the thing I just saw earlier." Heading back down, she goes back to the ocean floor where she accidentally threw that part, seeing that a big eel is guarding it that's trapped under a net near it. Octo uses the magnifying glass to create a little laser and distract it like a cat, while Mira goes and grabs the part. She thinks about freeing him. She decides to free the eel, even at risk to herself and her own people. The eel swims up to her very menacingly, but decides to swim off and thank you for saving him. She swims up successfully, gives the last part to the lead guy, transitions from a picture being taken of her handing the part to the lead scientist to it being on a museum wall years later with all the parts and photos of the, day that they are finally able to leave. We get to see Mira in this crowded museum by herself as she gets nostalgic of the old Earth and her friend that she made along the way. So this would be like our story arc of it so far. So we have the opening shot, then we have like the trading for parts, part gets lost, heads back to her room, and then that's when she gets to hear that that's where she needs the final part and heads back to see that the eel is guarding it. Then they trick the eel, hesitate but frees the eel, brings back the part to the old scientist, and now is the old mom. Feasibility. So we killed off a lot of like side characters and reincorporated them as like scientists or just different helpers rather than like being, actual side characters that like had, more conflicts, goals, wants, or needs. Just because this is a very short story that we're creating. As well, the octo rigging and rigging of like crowds and making cross-compatible animations is something pretty easy to do, especially in Unreal. For assets, we've been thinking about creating like a modular styled way to stack the houses so that basically one model can be used multiple times so that we're not wasting our time creating these complex stacked houses. As well, we would be using three different set locations. One would be the old world land slash town. The next would be the underwater area, and then the final one would be the future museum. For simulations, we've been prototyping mountains and waves in Unreal Engine. As well, we've been doing some like underwater look dev through like light gobos, just faking through HDRIs, or just like going underneath on Unreal's natural ocean that you can create. All are very good at creating fake lighting of like being under the water, and I want to see how I can mix some of them together as well. And yeah, I think that's about it. Thank you for watching our presentation and everything about our story. Now, this is the nerdier side of the presentation, but so like the beats that are represented throughout the entire story so far in our like, animatic are just about everything. We honed down on the beginning area, if you can tell, where we wanted to better establish what it would look like to like see the community, what they're doing, as well establishing the spaceship right away. So it's not like where'd that come from? As well, this is just one of the examples, but we've been thinking a decent amount about transitions. So in the animatic, for instance, we have a zoom in of this area into the TV. It doesn't look that good because it's hard to zoom in on drawings efficiently. However, that's like our plan is to have like small zooms to create, better transition points between different scenes, as well using objects to have natural transition points between scenes as well, so that we can go from being in her room to underwater, you know, in 1 second. And then I'd say the ending is another point that we polished out a very decent amount, just because I think the beginning and the ending are some of the most important parts, and it's also where we were losing people in some of our presentations. So with this, our ending is a lot more drawn out visually, and we have good transition points from past to future through these three slides right here. As well, uh, such limited time in the museum creates it makes it a lot easier for the animators and like crowd team basically, as we don't have to fill a lot of time and it's only one distant shot of seeing a lot of people. And then this is just to like shout out some of the team. So I actually am not really good at like drawing at all. So I didn't do any of these drawings whatsoever. Most of them were done by our like team lead, Maggie. Maggie's been utterly crushing it with just creating these storyboards for us and has been extremely motivated. As well, Erlin has been doing a lot, did create a lot of the like beginning character art for what Mira will look like and helped us flesh out what her character will look like, as well worked on the underwater areas. So basically any underwater scenery is done by him. And then as well, the eel here is a idea and creation by Jose. So it's been a very collaborative project, and it's been really cool to see us use our different talents in different ways. Uh, so yeah, I couldn't thank them enough for the work they've put in.